And let's just go ahead and count this money and see how much I made. 20, 40, 60, 80, 900, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1,000. I never pictured myself as just one thing. I want to create a life that I love while making money on my own terms. This is my journey to entrepreneurship. My name is Leah, and I want to inspire you to boss up with me. What's up, guys? I'm Leah. Welcome back to my channel. I had a lot of questions about how to sell an OfferUp after I produced this video about a year ago. So if you haven't seen this video, I would definitely recommend that you go ahead and check it out. You don't have to watch it before this one. The tips are still there. It won't be the same tip. So it's buildable either way, however you choose to watch. Just make sure you watch it too. So I got a lot of questions on how I've made money on OfferUp, and I want to go ahead and tell you guys my experience over the last 8 days. Over the last 8 days, I've made well over $1,000 on OfferUp. I want to give you tips, and they're not in any particular order. So just take the tips as you see fit. So here we go. Tip number one is don't sell junk. So I personally do not sell anything that I consider to be junk. So what I mean by that is I don't wait until I use an item to the fullest before I sell. I make sure that the item is in good enough condition for someone else to get a nice bit of use out of the item. If I do sell something that's damaged, I make sure that in my photos and in my description, it clearly shows what the damage is. This way, I won't be wasting the potential buyer's time, and I'm not gonna be wasting my time as a seller with communication back and forth with a person when I know that the item truly is damaged. An example of what I mean when I say don't sell junk, let's say I had some end tables that are still in good condition, but I want to change the look or the style in the room that the end table is in. I'm going to sell that end table on OfferUp before it's worn out, before it has wear and tear visibly showing. I'm going to sell that item on OfferUp so that someone is really happy to get the item and they're happy to pay for the item and then give me good reviews in turn as a seller of the item. So that's my first tip, do not sell junk. Tip number two, don't be attached to your merchandise. Once you decide that you are going to sell the item on OfferUp, don't get your feelings all involved where you think someone is insulting you if they offer a lower amount than what you're actually selling the item for. Please have the understanding that you truly want to sell the item. You truly want to get rid of the item. I don't like to have regrets whenever I sell something. So if I feel like I still am very attached to the item, I'm simply not going to list it on OfferUp. So this makes transactions a lot quicker and a lot easier, a lot more efficient. And then this also helps me whenever someone is trying to negotiate, depending on what I actually want to do. Like if I have a revenue goal that I'm trying to meet on OfferUp, then I'll negotiate with the item because I'm not too emotionally attached to the item. So I hope that that tip makes sense. If it didn't, leave a comment down below and let me know how I could further explain that to you. But my tip number two is not to be too attached to the item. Tip number three is to be assumptive, assume the sale and assume the appointment. So what I mean by that is anytime someone reaches out to you and asks you, is your item still available? Or they would like to buy your item for the listed price or however it is that they reach out to you, I'm always assuming that they want to come and see the item. So I'll say, you can come and see the item today at 5 o'clock. Does that time work for you? Or I might say something more simplistic like, would you like to come and view the item? So I'm leaving it open for them to let me know yes or no that they would like to come and view the item. So when they actually get here, my thought process is you're here to buy the item. You're not here to check it out. You're not here to just like see if you want it. My goal is to move the item. Remember, I'm not too emotionally attached to the item. So by the time I bring it down to my foyer, whatever it is, I want to make sure that this item is leaving my house like today, right when the buyer actually comes. I want to make sure that it is gone. I described in the description box for the listing that you will need a second person to carry this item, or you will need a truck to take this item away. So people are prepared. So by the time that they've corresponded with me, they've seen the photos that I have, and when they reach my house, I feel like the item is actually going to leave my house. And that's usually how it happens. People normally don't just say, okay, I'm gonna look at it and think about it later. Typically speaking, they're here and they're ready to take the item away. So that is my third tip, to assume the sale, assume that they want to view your item. So that's tip number 3. So moving on to tip number 4, I kind of touched on it a little bit with the second tip, but it is to be honest and be transparent. So whenever you're taking photos of an item, if there is something wrong with the item, show it. If there is something that you could verbalize that is wrong with the item, tell it. But don't be honest to a fault. So let me explain that. If you feel like there is a tiny little spot in a chair that's pretty inconspicuous, I'm not going to take a photo and magnify that tiny little spot. Whereas if there is a tear on the chair, I'm going to take a photo and show the tear on the chair, because I want the buyer to understand exactly what they could expect when they get to my home. While you're being honest and while you're being transparent, you don't have to be a critic and really try to like point out every single flaw that what is wrong with the piece that you're selling, because after all, this is a secondhand app. This stuff is used most of the times. So yeah, like normal wear and tear, I wouldn't be like too specific about. Is the item in good condition, and can the item be used for a time period after you sell it? Those are the things that I think about, and so that's how I eliminate what is to be like thrown away to, in the trash, or what is going to get listed on OfferUp. Tip number 5 is research your prices within the app. If you're unsure of how to price an item, then go on the app and type in that item that you have. So if you're selling some binoculars, see how your item compares to the items that are being sold. Look at how they're pricing it. Look at how long the item has been listed within the OfferUp app. Also take a look to see if it is the same model, if you have better features than they have, if yours is an older model. And there's nothing wrong with not having the same price as someone, but just justify your price within the description without saying, I'm charging this much because XYZ. So for instance, if I have a pair of binoculars that is 4 years old, but it has never been used, then I'm going to clearly convey that in the description box. I'm going to let people know that there are no scratches. These binoculars have not been handled. They are still in the original box, so that when you see someone selling a pair of binoculars that's just a year old, now you can understand the justification for my price. There's more chance that you're gonna get more use out of my set of binoculars than someone else's set, because mine has never been used. So you don't have to like look at people's prices just to mirror those prices, but just kind of get some insight on what it is that people are wanting, what amount people probably want to spend within the app. Typically speaking though, I don't look at other people's prices, because the way I use OfferUp is I use it as a source of revenue. I don't sell on OfferUp 24/7. I don't sell on OfferUp every single month. I sell on OfferUp as I see the need to sell on the app, which brings me to my next tip. So tip number 6, have multiple listings on the app. I have no proof of this, but I really feel like the algorithm of OfferUp is in your favor whenever you have multiple listings on the app. Anytime I post just something, just one standalone item, the item really doesn't get that much visibility and it really doesn't get that much play. So I wait until I have 5 items to post, 6 items to post. And when I post those items, then I feel like I get a lot more conversation. I get a lot more leads of people who are interested in that item. So if we just kind of like rewind just a little bit and go back to how that relates to the previous tip, which is research prices in the app. I don't research prices because I set a revenue goal. Like I say, okay, I want to make $500. I want to make $1,000. And then I look at the items that I have and I price those items accordingly. So over the last 8 days, when I've sold on OfferUp, I had a revenue goal of making $1,000 on OfferUp. So let's count the cash and let's see exactly how much I made. So this is actually the cash that I had received from buyers as they came into my home to purchase different things. And let's just go ahead and count this money and see how much I made. 1, 2, 3, 4, 500, 50, 600, 50, 700, 20, 40, 60, 80, 800, 20, 40, 60, 80, 900, 20, 40, 60, 80, 1,000. Can you tell that I used to be a teller back in the day? 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200, 20, 40, 60, 80, 300, 20, 40, 400, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. So that's $1,485. And this is not all, guys, because some people have paid me through Zelle. So I want to say I made two or three sales through Zelle. I could think of two right offhand. One was for $75 and the other one was for $65 that was made to be payable through Zelle. So yeah, I profited over $1,500 using the OfferUp app, really closer to $1,600 using the OfferUp app over the past 8 days or so. So I set a revenue goal. So I set out to make at least $1,000. And then when I do that, I actually price my items accordingly. So if I have 5 items that I want to sell, hypothetically, I price them over that $1,000 point so that we can leave room for negotiations. Sometimes I'm not willing to negotiate on the item depending on what it is, but I always try to price the item fair so that there is not necessarily where people feel like it is overpriced. So just to give you an example of this, I had this really, really beautiful cabinet that I was selling and I priced it for $250. I think it was a more than fair price because of the features of the cabinet. I posted this cabinet in the past and I got some offers, but no one actually came to see the cabinet. I reposted the item a few months later. I really, really wanted to get rid of the cabinet and I finally had someone in my house who was wanting the cabinet, but he offered $200 as opposed to $250. So being that I knew that this cabinet was extremely specific and it's not something that people just always come on OfferUp, looking for, I went ahead and accepted the $200, even though I felt the cabinet was worth actually over $250. But I had a revenue goal. So when you build these revenue goals, it's really important to work in line with the goal that you made. And so like with each sale, I'm tracking, okay, I made this much, I made that much. We're halfway there to making $1,000 and so on and so forth. So I hope that you guys are kind of like understanding the process and really understand how these tips really do intertwine with one another. Another thing with building your revenue goal leads us into our, I think, 7th tip. And that tip is don't hold merchandise. So sometimes people will ask you, hey, could you please hold this merchandise for me? Could you hold it? I won't be able to come until the weekend, or I won't be able to come until next week. I'm never quick to hold merchandise for people. In fact, I don't do it at all. I sell to whoever comes first. And I found that when I convey that to people, it really turns them off. So I try not to convey that to people. So I just basically set an appointment. So if I get someone who says, hey, could you hold that cabinet for me? I won't be able to come until next weekend. I'll go ahead and set an appointment time for them next weekend. But I will not say, oh no, it's first come, first serve. I used to do that and I found that it really turns people off. Like they stop the conversation, they never actually show up for the appointment, and it just doesn't turn out good. And on the other side of it, if you do hold something for someone, then you're saying no to everyone else who messages you about the item, and you're potentially losing out on money. So if you want to do it the way I do and just have like a revenue goal of how much money you want to make in the specific time that you want to make the money, then you would not hold the merchandise for anyone. But don't communicate that you're not going to hold it for them. Just say, okay, let's go ahead and schedule an appointment. And if you guys want more examples of this, if you want to actually get into my app and see how I communicate with people and see what that conversation looks like, just let me know in the comments. And if I have enough interest, then I'll film a video about it. Okay, so that's all for the tips, but I wanted to answer a question. So I got this question many times in my previous video, and the question is, what do I do if the item does not sell? Biggest thing that I would say is to potentially take different pictures of it or beef up your description or do a combination of both of those things. So if you feel like, okay, these are not the best pictures, it doesn't really, the pictures are kind of dark or the pictures are far away and you're not really focused on the item, you really can't see the item clearly or it doesn't show the beauty or the detail of the item, then go ahead and archive your original post, take some new photos of the new posts and upload those photos and have a really, really rich description of what you are selling. So going back to me as an example, I've had to do this. So I sold a sofa, a love seat, and I had 2 chairs that go along with that set. So I sold the sofa and the love seat separate months and months ago. And shortly after that, I decided I wanted to put those chairs up for sale too. Those chairs sat on my OfferUp profile for so long. I had a lot of interest and I had a lot of people coming to say they were going to look at it, and no one actually showed up. So I wanted to sell it. I really wanted to get rid of those chairs. So I took a look at the photos that I had. I said, okay, Leah, let's go ahead and archive this whole post, because I think what people's hang up is that the post was old. So the post may have been, let's say, 4 months old. And people say, okay, she's really desperate. No one wants these chairs. It's 4 months. She posted this 4 months ago. So these chairs probably aren't that great. So I'm going to pass. I'm going to skip our appointment. And I really believe that's what people were doing. So I just ended up archiving that post, taking some new photos of the chairs, putting a description with the chairs, including the dimension. And I was selling 2 chairs for $215. So it was priced to sell. The chairs had damage on it. I clearly showed the damage. Let me tell you, once I did that, those chairs were gone in less than 2 days. So it really does work. If you have an item and you really think that it is worth selling, you really think that there are people out there who want your item, then if it's been sitting on your OfferUp profile for a while, then I would say go ahead and archive it. Take some new photos of it, make sure that your lighting is good, put really great descriptions, like describing the item as best as you can, and then go on ahead and listing that item again on OfferUp and see what happens. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that these tips help you, and I really hope that you guys have a lot of success selling on OfferUp. If you guys are interested in seeing like a vlog sale of how I sell on OfferUp, like I maybe take you guys along with me for a week so you see my interactions with people as they come into my home for, you know, whatever it is that I'm selling, let me know in the comments. And again, if there's enough interest, I might film a video about it. So hopefully this helps, guys, and please make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next one.